Hello, welcome. This is Vartika, and you are watching NDTV. Recent Modi-Biden virtual meet and 2+2 meet worked as a booster for Indo-US bilateral ties. Today, we have Atman Trivedi with us from Washington, D.C. as India and Asia expert. He's Senior Vice President and co-lead at Albright Stonebridge Group and has around 20 years of experience in foreign affairs. Atman, very welcome.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's now move towards Indo-Pacific. Like in this recent 2+2 meet, Quad was also discussed, and which is a very important group for Indo-Pacific region. And Quad has also played a binding force between the two countries. If we keep China in consideration specifically. So how do you see its future and how it's going to strengthen itself and how it's going to resist China in Indo-Pacific region?
I'm bullish on the future of the Quad. We've seen two successive US administrations, Republican and Democratic, now come out and try to elevate the role of the Quad. Of course, in the Quad, India is absolutely central. It's the linchpin of this coalition. And I see the four democracies in the Indo-Pacific continuing to work together closely in providing public goods to the region and competing effectively with China. China, of course, underlies a lot of the deliberations of the Quad, even though the Quad is not an anti-China or a military arrangement against China. But everybody understands that China has grown more aggressive in the region. The US has quietly tried to help India. It came to its assistance, of course, 2 years ago in the clash in Galwan Valley in the high Himalayas, and will continue to back India in a way that Russia cannot be counted on to do. And so while those of us in Washington who are big supporters of the relationship understand why India needs to keep Russia neutral, especially as it relates to that border, Russia is not going to come to the assistance of India in its time of need. That is only going to come from the United States and its democratic allies, including those in the Quad. And that's why the Quad, I think, is so important to India's future and also to the United States' future role in Asia. And it's the vehicle where we see our strategic perspectives, our ambitions really coalescing and aligning. And so again, I'm optimistic about this arrangement's future, despite the differences that might exist between the four countries, the different history, geography, and so on. I think there's so much that binds the countries together, and China is providing a real glue unwittingly for the Quad.
Right. I have a question here. It's being repeatedly said that Russia is not going to come to help India whenever it'll be needed. I want to ask, what makes you think that?
Well, Vladimir Putin's word can't be trusted. I think he's shown that time and time again over the last few months. But notwithstanding a significant legacy relationship that India has had, Russia is in a world of trouble right now. It's under sanctions. It's going to struggle to make good on its existing defense commitments to India. It's isolated. It's a pariah state. And in the views of many of us in the West, it's left the community of civilized nations. In short, that means it's more dependent on China than ever before. Russia has basically become a junior partner to China. And that increasing dependency on Beijing makes it likely that Russia's contributions to India in any kind of contingency that India has with China is exceedingly low. I think the best that India can hope for from Moscow is that it will stay neutral in any future India-China border situation.
Well, this gives a lot of food for the thought. Uh, India and US has reaffirmed their ambition for building an advanced and comprehensive defense partnership in which militaries of the two nations coordinate closely together across the domains. And right now, as you know, Russia is a big defense partner for India. And for why it's important for India to be neutral right now, because of the major uh, issue is the heavy dependency on Russian defense material and support items. While US is saying right now that, okay, we'll be able to help you, we'll be able to give you an alternate to that, but how practical is it? And as India has said that the defense military equipment alternates available in the market of Russian equipments are very costly. So, how do you think? Is it do you see it possible in the near future that India can reduce its dependency from Russia? And how do you think US can help there?
Thanks, Vartika. I think it's not only possible that India can reduce its dependency on Russia from an arms perspective, it's likely, and it's already been happening. If you look at the statistics over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years, India already has naturally been diversifying its military trade to include new partners. The United States, Israel and France have definitely been part of that mix. But the US-India defense trade relationship has gone from fairly close to zero, a few million in 2008, around that period, to over 20 billion today. And that's impressive, but there's a lot of room for growth. And when you buy into US defense products, you're buying into a relationship with the United States. And I think, and India knows that US military items are state of the art, cutting edge technologies. And over the life of a system, they are very competitive on cost with other systems which are likely to break down and have issues in terms of servicing and reliability. So I'm very encouraged about this defense partnership. Republican or Democrat in Washington, that defense partnership has been growing and growing. And I think it's partially due to the alignment between the US and India in terms of how they see threats in the world. It's also partially due to the manner in which China is acting against both our democracies that are really pushing us together and have really led India to gravitate towards the United States on strategic issues.